Hi, my name is Rod Khleif, and I'm host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. Now, each week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rock Stars. So as you guys know, this is where we do deep dives into our guests' deals and give you more practical and actionable items and strategies for getting started in doing your first deal, especially if you're new to multifamily. Of course, I've got my co-host, Mark Nagy, with me here.
Good to be here, Rod. And we've got another good guest for less than 6 months from when he came from working with us. So love these types of podcasts of people doing it quickly.
Nice. Yeah, we got Jordan Hins on today, and Jordan's a fairly new warrior, and he has closed on his first 48-unit deal, which we are going to dig into. Jordan, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on who you are, buddy, and where you came from?
So I'm born and raised southern Minnesota. It's #2 pork producing county in the U.S. Growing up, I worked on hog farms and in construction. After college, I joined the military and served 8 years in the Army National Guard. And while I was in college, going back a little, my best friend growing up, his parents bought a house every time one of their kids went to school. They have 5 children. They ended up with 5 houses plus another 2. They did the whole house hacking thing. It was just mind-boggling, so smart. Then after they're all out, they all graduated. They sold that whole portfolio all to one buyer up in the cities there. So that really caught my interest in real estate right out of the gates. So then after Army, fast forward, moved here to Rochester. My wife owns a dental practice, and we were able to buy that building she practices out of. So that was our first official commercial real estate that we owned. So I kind of got ambitious, wanted to start adding to the portfolio in that realm. And hence, after the pandemic, the office space didn't really look too appealing. So started following Rod on Instagram and really just drew myself more and more to him, and then joined as a warrior in September, and off to the races we are. I love it.
Nice. Well, I can hear the Minnesota when you said Minnesota. I heard it, man. I didn't hear it when we were doing a pre-frame, but I heard it then. Excuse me. I love it. Thank you for your service, by the way, as well. That's freaking awesome. You know, I know you've done some disaster relief stuff. Talk about that for a second before we get into the real estate stuff, because that is so cool.
Yeah. Can I name drop the organization or just keep it to disaster relief?
No, absolutely. No, I name drop it.
Okay. Yeah. So I formally, my W-2 right now is working for the American Red Cross, the #1 disaster relief organization in the world. And I am a quote unquote planner for the American Red Cross. So I'm always planning for the next disaster. I do a lot with data, ArcGIS, Excel. So I'm really in that realm of planning. And it's kind of funny because a lot of my interaction with multifamily in the last 6 years has been from apartment fires. So when there's an apartment fire, we're working with the property managers to, if they don't have insurance to help those residents, we're the ones housing those residents in either hotels or shelter locations. So that's really been my interaction with multifamily in the last 6 years. And it's really funny how we go full circle now. I'm hopefully I'm on the other side of that now as an owner. So it's really cool. But yeah, so we work obviously hurricanes, home fires, apartment fires, tornadoes, you name the disaster, we're there on the boots and ground. I am fortunate enough to be really virtual with because I'm really tech heavy, but I can go and deploy anywhere if I want to at any time.
So you do deploy sometimes as well at these disasters?
Yep. Oh, you can go down, like Katrina was one of the first ones that came in. Ian was the recent one. So all the hurricanes, you're in that area. So
dude, I settled for $1 million. I settled for $1 million here on my compound on Ian because I got 6 buildings, roofs, paint, everything else. Ian is my best friend. Ian was good to me. I'm going to say that. Not to many people, but he was good to me. Well, so let me ask you this: what kind of listeners on the show do you think would relate to you the most? And this ties into your personality. I know you're very analytical. You told me before we started going that you're an introvert. And so talk about what listener you think you'd relate to the best.
Yeah, so I go with my 3 Fs, faith, family, and friends. Those are huge pillars of mine. God, I give it all up to God and really trust in him and what he has plans for me. And then my family is really what I want to spend the most time with and really help them succeed in life. I grew up with parents that were, huge role models of mine. I consistently look up to them always, forever, and really strive to be as much like them as I can, but yet develop areas that I hoped I would have got, like the financial, literacy when I was younger. So I'm always trying to better my family's future, and also the friends that I surround myself. Being an introvert, my friends are all big talkers, so I've had it really easy that I can just kind of hang out, listen in the room, and let them do all the talking. So that's been pretty fun. They're all really successful in their realm as well. But planner, my friends and family, I'm the one who plans our vacations, does all that leading and organizing those trips. And so I really see myself as a planner, faith, family, and the organizer of the groups that I'm in, family and the friend group. So
now
Nice.
bring that into multifamily, right? Because you have an interesting story about doing your first deal and your quote unquote superpower. Because you talked about, kind of your personality type, you work with data, etc. Bring us up to speed on kind of what you thought your superpower might be getting into multifamily, and then how did that change?
Yeah, so it's crazy. My W-2, like I mentioned, working exclusively with data, Excel, and thought I'd really be comfortable in the underwriting realm. And I love the underwriting realm, but I definitely wouldn't say it's my superpower yet. I think we have a lot of growth there. I'm constantly joining warrior groups and trying to develop that part of me. And I would say counter the superpower, I'd say my kryptonite is this public speaking. And that's kind of thing that I've tried to attack. I'm naturally an introvert due to a speech impediment when I was younger. So after Rod's program in September, he said, learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I took that very serious. So every time I get uncomfortable, and usually in the past, I'd just hightail it and say, make up an excuse to get out of it or just not be involved with it. Now I push forward, I do what it is to grow, and it's working huge. I've had a broker call one time that I had connected with a broker, and he just lit me up when it comes to terminology, everything. But I had to get out of the comfort zone. I called him. He called me out a lot of things, and I left that conversation, called my coach, and be like, woo, I said everything according to Rod's thing, and man, did I get it to me. He's like, it's all right, man. Now you know. Turn it back and go back and do better. So, and it's full circle. That broker now is LP on my current project. So it's really cool.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow. Good for you. Oh, that's awesome, brother. That's absolutely awesome. It's funny, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I jumped, my fear is heights, and I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane a few years ago, and I'll never do it again, but I got uncomfortable. I love it. So let me ask you this. What do you think, we've got a lot of listeners that have never taken action yet. And what is one item you think we could deep dive into today with you that would benefit our listeners to, get started, to just get started in this business or just get rolling? Any, does that resonate at all?
To get started, you just got to pull the trigger. You can't keep sitting on your hands and thinking things are going to come to you. You got to go for it, get after it. Networking is a huge thing. You constantly talk about it within the Warrior Group and on your podcast here. That is by and far the biggest powerful thing that you can imagine. It was through networking that I was able to get on my first opportunity. It's through networking that really re-energizes me, especially, early on, I was kept hitting lows. You're doing all this stuff, getting all this work, but you're not seeing anything from all this time you're putting into it. So really, I found energy by connecting with warriors, resonating, hearing their same issues they're running into, or seeing that they're turning things around and things are coming. So it's energizing. I left every conversation with another warrior of like, wow, I can do this. I'm back on top. Let's go. And it's a great chance to, let people get to know you, what you can bring as a value, but also who you are as a person. And I think that in turn will come full circle again, and people will reach out and join teams with you.
You mentioned networking. We try and give the practical steps on this podcast. So break it down for us. What are the avenues that you network? How do you reach out to these people? And then when you do, for other introverts listening who might not even know where to start, what do you say? How do you open the conversation? What are the things that you do in that conversation to quote unquote network with these people?
My comfort zone is always texting people, and that's how I can introvertly, communicate with you. So I'm trying to not do that. So I go ahead. Obviously, Facebook's been a huge thing. I messenger, email, setting up Calendarly calls with folks to get on a video call with them face to face and just come with a list of questions to kind of figure out where they're at, what their markets are at, what value, what are their superpowers, what are they going to bring to this relationship, and then just sometimes the conversations, actually a lot of the times, they turn more personal, and we just kind of talk and keep it light. So that's an ability to kind of really get to know each other on a personal basis outside of just the multifamily realm that we're trying to get into. But yeah, and then I'm constantly, my new conversations is kind of funny because my W-2, somebody asks, what do you do for a living? I don't even talk about my W-2 anymore, which is crazy because now I'm, working on my elevator pitch and just talking about multifamily. This is the future that I want. And so that's the future I talk about when it comes to networking with folks out and about.
Got it.
Excellent advice.
So, yeah. Now, let me ask you this. You heard me say be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. Were there any strategies that you used internally to push through that? We call it stress. Achievers call fear stress, but it's fear. To push through that fear. Any strategies that you used just to freaking do it, or you just did it? I'm just curious.
It's always front of mind, so I try to just do it. I recognize it all the time when it comes and it sneaks up on me, heart's racing, want to bail, and I just literally recognize it and just push right through. I try not to dwell on it too long.
That's the secret, I think, is not thinking about it. I mean, this is probably a trite, or maybe it's not even a great example, but I do a cold plunge every morning now, and it is cold as a hell. Oh, well, not for you Minnesotans, but for me, that lives in Florida, it's cold. And if I think about it, I'm screwed. But if I just do it, I'm done. It's all good. I can do it. But okay. Well, listen, I know you've got your first deal as a warrior, and it's not an insignificant deal. Why don't you tell us about it? Tell us where it came from, how you got involved. Give us the numbers. Let's start with the numbers and all of the things. Let's just take us through it, just at any way you like.
All right. Yeah, we'll start with the numbers first, and then we'll circle back and talk about how it came to, because it's a really cool story. Okay. So it's a 48-unit townhomes up in Maple Grove, Minnesota, one of the best suburbs in Minnesota by far. We purchased it for just over $10.2 million. Total equity we raised was $4 million. And we locked in a 7-year, 6% fixed interest rate on the property. This is a B property in a B+ area with a 98% occupancy. We have in-house construction. One of our partners owns a construction company, so he's going to be keeping the in-house construction there, which is a $400,000 Reno budget that we got, so CapEx budget. This was a 506C opportunity. This is obviously B or C is new realm to me, but C made it a little more interesting for me because there's only accredited investors that I could bring in. And then that split up the investment categories into 2 different classes, A1, A2. Both had little slightly different returns.
Let me stop you for a sec. Because I think people's eyes are going to be crossing here if we're not careful. So guys, there's 2 kinds of syndications that we see the most, 506B and 506C. 506B is what it used to be when I first got started in the business. And when they passed the Dodd-Frank Act, they allowed 506C. Now 506B, you can only deal with people you know, or that you have what's quote unquote a substantive substantive relationship with them, where you understand their financial ability substantively. 506C, and you can't advertise at all. Back when I started, they had what was called the 3-touch rule. You had to actually touch somebody 3 times before you could tell them about a deal. Now you have to have that relationship, that description of a relationship. Now, a 506C, the clouds parted, the angels started singing. We could advertise, we could scream it from the rooftops, okay? But your investors have to be accredited. What is accredited? You have to make $200,000 a year with the expectation of it to continue, $300,000 if you're married, or have a net worth of $1 million without your personal residence. So now he's talking about different classes of shares. Describe those classes and why they're different.
Yep. So Class A1 is a $200,000 investment, and those returns are going to be a little different. So we'll have an 8% preferred return for them, 18.3% ARR, and a 2.28x equity multiplier. And the A2 was a $100,000 investment with a 6% preferred return and 16.3% ARR and a 2.14 X equity multiplier. So just two different categories there.
So you're just
So-
influencing people to put in more money. Say, hey, you put in
Yeah.
more money, you get a better return, essentially, to break
Right.
it down.
I rounded it up to like 5 big influences I really liked about this opportunity. So one was this opportunity was in our backyard. So this is my first one and a lot of my investors' first one. And what better than an area that everybody really knows, because all my investors are from Minnesota. So they knew this area, very comfortable with this area, something they could drive to and physically see, hey, I'm LP on this opportunity. I'm a partner on this property. Number two, I mentioned earlier, is our broker is on as an LP. He liked this so much that he joined as an LP on this one. Thirdly, the original property management company was the company that we beat out to purchase this asset. So they had managed it for so long that they liked it, knew what it had for potential, and they wanted to purchase it themselves, but we beat them out there. The BOV, there's a BOV done a year prior on this that came in at 11.3 million.
BOV is a broker's opinion of value. Okay, please continue.
Yep. And so we were able to buy it for 10.2, which is 1.1 million difference between the two. BOV was higher last year. Interest rates, they didn't want to sell it, so they held on to it for another year, hoping that the rates would come down a little better. And then lastly, the GP team is very.
You know what? I apologize because I interrupted you. So the broker's opinion of value came in at 11.3 million last year, and you got it at 10.2 because rates have gone up. Yes.
Yep.
Fantastic. So I just want to make sure that people got that. So awesome deal. Great.
Yep. Yeah. So and then lastly, the GP team was very active in my backyard, Rochester, and obviously in Minnesota. So it was a great opportunity to bridge the gap, get a relationship built there, and hopefully many more opportunities in the future as they're navigating around my market in my backyard. So I just saw a huge value add there with this team.
So what value did you bring? What did you bring to the table?
Yep. So I was able to bring capital to this opportunity as a raiser, and then also I'm on the asset management team, not only to learn but also to help. I'm bringing market analysis every month on our GP calls and helping support the team for the next 5 years hold.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious on this because, again, you said this is, capital raising, being an introvert, that's not your skill set. How did this opportunity present itself for you to go into something like this?
Well, more importantly, how did you push through the fear of picking up the phone and calling your friends, associates, and everything to raise money? I think, because that's not your wheelhouse, brother. That's discomfort. So you're really pushing that discomfort thing.
Oh yeah. Well, it's held me back for I don't want to say my age, but 36 years, and I think it's kind of been long enough. Please know this is not condescending, but I'm going to tell you, I'm freaking proud of you, brother. I mean that, because that takes a lot, because it's completely counter to your personality when you push like that. But look at you, man. You got a screaming deal under your belt already. Awesome job, man.
Yeah. So how'd you get into that role then? How did all that come about?
Yeah. So how did we get to this deal?
And your role of raising the capital. How'd you even get to that point?
Yeah, so this deal came about is I was actually looking at another property here in Rochester, Minnesota. And that property I was underwriting with a Warrior, came out to be a 4D property, so low income. So we got a little skittish, not really familiar with that background. So we pulled back on it. Then at our Warrior event down in Phoenix, I was asking around, trying to find out another Warrior that's what's so great about this community is there's so much experience that there's going to be somebody out there that's really good. So I was able to find a Warrior. Chris Neimer, very good, extensive background in low-income housing. So I was able to connect with him. Him and I underwrote this thing again, started digging in deep on this. And then we got to a point that we found out there's a previous Warrior that underwrote this and dug in deep and did due diligence way back in May on this property. So that Warrior ended up being Charlie Peters. So we got on a call, Chris, Charlie, and I, and another partner of Charlie's. We all got on a call together and talked about this opportunity. Found all those little hidden gems that the broker just wasn't bringing to the surface for us. So we ended up tossing it on the table. But through that conversation, I was able to meet the partner of Charlie and Charlie. I connected after that call with him, just got to know him, networking. This is what I do. He's like, I've heard so much good things about Rod's Warriors, the community that he's built. I'd love for you to come join this opportunity because we've heard nothing but good news about all those Warriors in that group. So I was like, heck yes, I'd love the opportunity.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know that. That's awesome. So talk about, let's drill down on why you love this deal. Let's talk about the rents and whatnot. Why is this deal such a great deal? I mean, obviously you said it's in one of the best subdivisions in your area. Townhouses, we love freaking townhouses. Nobody's living above you or below you. You know, the townhouses are probably my favorite. But what else? What were the rents and things like that?
Yeah, so what really stuck out when we were looking at this property is our rents were quite a bit lower than what the market rents were. So just on a 2-bed, 2-bath, we were at 1,800. Markets were at 1,895, and after our target Reno
Renovation, target renovation, right?
Renovation
Okay.
would come in on that 2-bed, 2-bath about 2,070, so a little above the market. And then for the 3-bed, 2-bath, our average lease rent was 2,011, and the market rent was at 2,200. So after Reno renovations, we're hoping to get that rent up to 2,395. So we really want to, it's going to be about an average increase just to get up to market of $171. And then after renovations, 175 average bump up to get us slightly above where the market is, just because the area that it consists in, we're really going to beef it up to really look like it's a Class A property, but it's going to be Class B. So
talk about some of the things you're going to do in your capex and your capital expenditures and your renovations to bring on the ones that you do renovate. Talk about some of the items you're doing.
So even after our first conversation with the property management company that we have on deck now is negotiating our current contracts. So an example, we've already got our garbage services cut by 50%. So we're really going through all the contracts that were in place and really shoring them up and getting better ones in place. So that alone.
By the way, guys, sorry to interrupt, buddy. Sorry, I apologize. By the way, guys, cutting expenses is just as powerful as raising rents, because any increase to the net income is an exponential increase to the value. It's about $17 to $20 to 1 for every $1 you increase the net income. That's how big a deal it is. So sorry to interrupt. So that was the expense
and real
cutting.
Quick on that topic,
Yeah.
how to dig deeper on that again for the practical knowledge. What did you do? Did you just call up the garbage company and negotiate lower? Did you switch? How did you do that?
So we have boots in ground. One of our property managers literally lives in Maple Grove. So he's extremely familiar with all the services in that area. So he not only knows those folks in the area, but yeah, has those connections already. So we were able to get on the phone, talk to those and negotiate better prices with folks that we already had relationships with. And then also knowing folks down, it's only an hour away between there and Rochester where their other asset is located. Those GPs. So they also have connections down there with folks that they could have brought in.
Got it. Okay. So what are the upgrades you're doing?
Yeah, so interior upgrades. So we got about 35 units that we're putting in new plumbing fixtures. We're adding flooring. We're painting, new countertops, adding the white trim and updated cabinets. So really trying to give this place a facelift to really, again, look like that Class A property in Class B actually asset. So and then exteriorly, we're adding new signage. We're going to be putting pet waste stations in, and really adding to the grilling patio areas. Better set up there. But the big capture was that, renegotiating of the contracts was huge to really get us up to that market rent.
Nice. So let me ask, by the way, so you connected with Charlie, you connected with Chris, you put all this thing, these are warriors, wonderful people, by the way. In fact, let me just say this, guys, if you're interested in applying to our Warrior program, for God's sakes, do it. Okay. Text the word crush to 72345. That's how you apply. We look you over, you look us over. If it's a fit, be the greatest thing you ever did in your life. I can promise you that. And if it's not, even if it's not, you'll leave that call better than you got on it. So again, text crush to 72345. So let me ask you this, at the current pace, you've only been in the program like just 6 months, not even quite. If you were to take a guess or a projection, how long do you think it's going to take for you to reach financial freedom? Your definition of that.
So I came in here with the goal of 5 years to really be financially free, dig myself out of the college debt that we have in our household. And I think after really digging in here and looking at it, I put myself at about 4 years in about 1,000 units. So averaging about 300 units a year, I think definitely would get me financially free. And any more than that, it's just a plus to get me going quicker.
Just gravy. Love it. Love it.
Well, one thing I know you mentioned here, Jordan, on the hot topics, everybody's been talking about interest rates lately, but I know you mentioned capital raising. Now, why did you bring that up as kind of I know why you did, but the hot topic for the listeners, why did you bring up capital raising? And tell us a little bit more about, I guess, why you think that's going to be so important over the next 12, 24 months in the market.
Yeah, so everybody's probably aware what we got going on with the Fed cuts coming in the future, possibly. We got election year. We have so many layers of hodgepodge going on in this economy. Who knows? So a lot of folks are really conservative with their money and want to make sure they're putting it to the safest, most conservative area to get that gain. So I really am seeing a slowdown on folks letting go of that money. So I think capital raising is a huge part. I'm seeing a huge uptick in deals coming my way, but I don't see the uptick in money coming my way. So it's kind of a pendulum. From what I've heard, in the past, it's been a big uptick in money, but a lower deals coming to the plate. So it's kind of a pendulum swing here, and that capital is, it's valuable. The folks that are giving it up want the best out of it, and I want the best for them. So I'm really being picky with the opportunities that do come to the plate, being very conservative and making sure it's going to be the best option for me and for, most importantly, my investors to get them their returns.
Quick follow-up, what sort of effort did it take then to raise the capital for this current deal in terms of calls, networking, et cetera? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So right when I joined as a warrior, I started immediately reaching out and saying, hey, this is what I'm up to. I got hopefully some opportunities coming in the future. Would you like to partake? So I really started building out my list of potential investors. So with that, I had those all sitting on the back docket waiting for this deal to come. So when this deal came, they're on board. So it's really nice to have that ready, that list of folks ready. And then even better, being that it was a 506C, which I could openly solicit, I was able to start advertising this more just in my circles. I didn't really go outside and post it anywhere in public knowledge areas. But just doing that was, even if they didn't join my investment, I was able to add to my investor list saying, hey, I like this opportunity. I'd love to join future ones. So I found a huge gain in the 506C being restricted, that it was just credited. It was also a huge gain in the opportunity to openly advertise exactly what I'm doing and show them some numbers while I'm doing it, versus just talking about, this could be the potential or samples.
How much of the $4 million did you raise?
I raised 800,000 of that.
Fantastic on your
Such
first
good
deal.
advice, by the way, to go out and start raising money before you even get to a deal. Because very often people will ask me a question like, hey, what do I do to raise money? When I get a deal, do I just post it and hope I get money? But it's such a better idea to actually start networking before you even get to that point.
What did you do? Drill down on that a little bit. What did you do prior to having the deal? Talk about how you built that list.
So I was consistently reaching out to folks. I reached out to Hillary Graves, who's a ginormous, capital raising.
She's awesome. Yeah, she's fairly new as well, and she's killing it with capital raising.
Yeah, and she pointed out how she uses Facebook as one of her avenues, and that's kind of where I started, is using Facebook. I have all these friends on Facebook that I maybe haven't talked to in years, so let's connect again. So I started reaching out saying, hey, this is what I'm up to. Would this be something that you're interested in? And, give or take, people signed up or they didn't. So that was my first avenue that I really started utilizing, is Facebook Messenger. And then outside of that, day to day, my new conversations at the gym that I attend every day or try to, just those conversations with people. Hey, what are you up to? This is what I'm doing now. Would you be interested, or anybody that you may know be interested in an opportunity like this? And, a lot of my friends are farmers. They have half the year hanging out in the winter here in Minnesota, not doing too much. And they got money on hand. So they're also looking for opportunities as well. So this is kind of a new realm. Instead of going to buy that new tractor, I'm like, hey, how about you get in on this opportunity and we can buy 2 tractors in 5 years.
Love it. Love it. Are you okay with listeners reaching out to you? And if so, where and how can they do that, brother?
Yes, I love that. If they want, they can visit my website at www.nextgive.com. So nextgiv.com. Or you can look me up, Jordan Hins, on LinkedIn. I'm on there as well. Kind of a cool little story with the nextgive.com, if you don't mind, is
please.
One of the big things I love about you, Rod, is that you give back so much more. So I came up with the Next Give and the Next Gen. So really want to give back once we get going with this. So first invest, next give. So that's kind of our concept behind next give, because that's a huge part of our lives as well, giving back as much as we can.
I love it. I love it. And I know you were at the Orlando event in September, and you saw us do the Hall of Fame awards to the exemplary warriors, and every single one of them gives back in some fashion. And, you know, power moves to those who serve.
And
well, listen, brother.
Just to clarify, that's next give without the E, correct?
That's
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct.
PIV. Okay, just for the listeners.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, yeah, you saw just that literally every person we had on stage, it wasn't just about the fact that they're killing it in the business, but the fact that they give back, and it's just extraordinary. And we see it almost on a weekly, well, definitely every other week basis. Somebody posts in the Warrior Group that they're doing something charitable. And, you know, we're making the world a better place besides just, you know, making ourselves better financially. So, well, listen, brother, I appreciate you coming on. You did a great job today, and you pushed through, and it's obvious why you're going to be an incredible, you know, you're already a success, but you're going to be an incredible success in this business. I'm certain of it. So, well, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thank you guys so much.
Good to have you, Jordan.
You bet.
Thanks, guys.
So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. You know, they're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. You know, and maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, you know, incredible cash flow, and they think, well, it's just scary. You know, buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. See, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students, and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years, and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships, really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now, again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.